And with all the BS that floats around, and the made-up stories and all that stuff, somehow some truth in what I do permeates to these people.
Now, when you read about pain of others, when you read about a Clinton or any figure, do you tend to sympathize with them having been the victim of it yourself?
Yeah. Especially in the case of somebody like, let's say, Joseph Campbell. You know who he is?
Sure.
And a great teacher, a great philosopher, mythologist, had something so wonderful to say in these, let's say, the 6 volumes of tapes that he did with Bill Moyers. And then I'll read an article where he's put down posthumously.
Anti-Semitism.
By this other guy who puts down Frank Lloyd Wright himself, Brendan Gill, I think it was. But I'm saying, why attack this man when he finally made a statement? He's given so much to the world by what he's saying, inspirational saying.
Do you feel sorry for Clinton?
Do I feel sorry for Clinton? Well, he's not my first choice as a candidate, so...
Who is?
That, I'd like Cuomo, to tell you the truth. I like Harkin, too. I like his voting record. But that's beside the point. I mean, there is an issue here that's about the right to privacy. I mean, how would Roosevelt have been elected if they knew about his mistress? What about President Kennedy? See, again, Joseph Campbell was said to be an anti-Semite. I don't necessarily believe that.
No.
Here's my point. I'm a Jew, and it doesn't matter to me. In other words, his work, his philosophy, what he has taught us or given us is beyond anti-Semitism.
Why don't you sing more? Why aren't you out in concert?
I'm thinking about doing it. I'm thinking about doing it, but it is very scary. You know how we were talking before about some people, the surgeon who operates would be afraid to be on this show with you.
Yeah.
The same thing. In other words, I have
You're
this...
afraid?
Yeah.
Of what?
I mean, this scares me, being on a show with you.
Well, you're not afraid to go on stage and sing.
Oh, yeah.
Of what?
I don't know, that I'll be less good than the people expect, that I'll forget my words, that I'll... You know, this happened to me. I was singing in front of 135,000 people, and I got a death threat from the PLO because it was during the Arab-Israeli war, and I was making the movie with Omar Sharif, whose films were banned in Egypt.
Who loves you, by the way.
That's
He said on
nice.
this show you're the best person he ever worked with.
That's very nice. He was wonderful to work with.
So that
I forgot my words in front of 135,000 people. I went blank. It was like, because I figured I better keep moving around in case there were snipers out there, you know? It did scare me, I must say. It did scare me. I thought...
Someone said, though, if you did a concert tour right now, you would be probably the highest paid and the biggest drawing person who could go on concert. Because we haven't... When was the last time you did a tour?
I never did a tour. But
when I was Vegas or in
the
public?
last time I charged for singing was at least 20 years ago. Or more than 20 years ago.
With this gift, this voice.
25 years ago was the last time I charged.
25 years.
I
Got
only
this great album out.
for charity.
This great album, which is a package set, maybe the best package set ever done. Why don't you want to stand on the stage?
Well, I may want to. I'm saying it's a challenge for you. You know, we all have to grow. I am a work in progress here, you know? I mean,
you may come back soon?
Uh-huh.
Soon?
I'm thinking of it. I'm thinking this might be very exciting if I could, and a growth process for me, you know, to see if I could stand up in front of people. Look, the truth is I love directing movies. So that's, you know, it's taken me 3 years on this movie. It's taken me 5 years on Yentl. I don't have much time in between to, you know, make the records and to also do
And you like directing better than staying on stage singing?
It's in private. I like recording, too. Remember that. It's in private.
Private. We'll be right back with a very private Public Tonight and Kevin's Barbra Streisand. Look away. Our guest is Barbra Streisand, who didn't finish her thought on the Clinton thing involving privacy and sexuality, right?
Well, yeah, I just think that what goes on in a person's sex life is a very private issue. And are we going to deny ourselves some great politicians because of their sex lives? I don't know about that. In other words, what I'm saying is we might not have had some great presidents.
What part, when they say it goes with the business, do you think Buddy Rich once said, I think Sinatra too, all I owe the public is my best performance? That's all I owe them. I don't owe them anything more than that. I don't owe them a smile backstage. I don't owe them anything but my best.
That's just human kindness. I
Okay.
think you owe people human
Do
kindness.
you think you also owe us, your private life?
Yes.
You do?
I do, but I also know that, being a public person, you give that up. That is the price of fame. It's hard to live with, but
In
that's
other
the
words,
truth.
you've got to
That's
pay
the
that
way
price.
it is. That's
If you go into the business,
That's the
you
way
can't
it is.
complain.
right.
So when you walk down the street, if people hawk you up, paparazzi take pictures,
I don't like that. That scares me. They get in a bright night, a dark night, and bulbs go off. I understand them wanting the picture, and I'll say, listen, please, let me pose for you. I'll take your picture, then will you please leave me alone to walk down this street? And if they're nice, they will honor that. If they're not, they follow you anyway.
If your image is power, and you're known as strong, and you like to direct, directing means you go there, you go here, camera goes here, what would you be frightened of?
Life is full of paradoxes. I mean, it's not that simple. You see, it's not, A doesn't just add up to B. I mean, 1 and 1 is 3 sometimes. But in other words, it's not that simple. How do I describe that to you? What does that mean? It's like I can direct a movie, but I have no sense of direction. In other words, if I'm in a car, I don't know where I am.
But you can say, put the camera
I
there.
can say that's how the movie goes, and that's the vision I have, and that's the dream I have, and this is the way things should be, but I can't, I'm totally unmechanical.
How much a part of success in your head is financial? When you hear things like, here's what Madonna's making, here's what Michael Jackson's making, and you know what you could make. I mean, tomorrow you could decide on income beyond the...
If I were just interested in money, I would obviously tour. That's where you make a lot of money. That's how people make a lot of money.
So that's not your driving force?
Not at all.
Is it because you have enough?
I have enough to live with and give enough away. I like to give money away.
Don't you need applause?
No. I don't need it on the large scale. I mean, I like it because people are going to see Prince of Tides. I mean, people are going to see the movie that I love.
That's a reward.
That I made. People write me letters about how the movie touched them, how it made them feel. That's the reward for me.
And that's more of a reward than 40,000 people going bravo at the end of a magnificent
I mean, to get nominated for the Directors Guild of America is a great honor. I am very thrilled about that.
Only third woman ever.
I think so, yeah.
You think you'll be nominated for an Academy Award?
I have no idea.
You expect it?
I don't expect anything like that. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what's in people's minds and their hearts.
Our guest is Barbra Streisand. As promised, you'll get the chance to talk with her. Here's what Pat Conroy says about her. To Barbra Streisand, he inscribed this in the Prince of Tides book. You're many things, but you're also a great teacher, one of the greatest to come into my life. I honor great teachers. You've made me a better writer. You rescued my sweet book. You've honored me by taking it all with such seriousness and love. Pat Conroy, the author of Prince of Tides. Your calls for Barbra Streisand after this. Don't go away. Sometimes people get an interesting rap or image in the business. We're going to go to your calls in a moment. But this is a letter from the entire crew, by the way. You can see that clearly. Of Yentl. They all worked on Yentl. And it says, the underside are currently working on Yentl, directed by and starring Barbra Streisand. Because she's subjected to so much adverse press, we thought it might interest you to know that during the last 3 months of rehearsal and filming, she has completely captivated us all. Though undoubtedly a perfectionist in her dealings with everyone, producers, camera, sound, electrical crews, props, wardrobe, makeup, etc., she has shared jokes, chats, and pleasantries each and every day. She appears to have no temperament. Her voice is scarcely heard on the set. Her smile is seen constantly. We have all worked with directors and stars who are the complete antithesis of Barbra Streisand, but whose antics don't reach the newspaper. This letter is entirely unsolicited and is the result of our collective affection. No one printed that, right? Why do you have this image of the opposite of the antithesis of this, do you think?
I never understood it. When I was doing Yentl, again, I was very naive, But I guess it's because, you see, as a singer, when I was singing, I never experienced any chauvinism. I don't mean just males, but anything about being a woman, What was so odd about being a woman? I didn't get it.
Until you directed?
Until I directed.
Because?
Well, actually, it probably started when I started to act, too,
You were entering a man's domain?
Because I had opinions, and I think people weren't used to women with opinions in the 60s, when I made Funny Girl in 1967, because I adored Willy Waller. I adored Harry Stradling, my cameraman. And I was shocked by what I read in the paper, that I was telling Harry how to light. Well, Harry was a genius. Harry lit my first 4 pictures, and he had done Camille or something.
So are you saying you're not bossy, you're not difficult, you're not temperamental?
I'm not temperamental, no. But it depends what you call difficult. If that means striving for excellence, if that means doing it till it's right, then you can call me difficult. In other words, I don't want to call anybody a liar because it depends how you define these words, you know?
Anybody good should have no difficulty with that.
That's right.
Toronto, as we go to calls for Barbra Streisand. Hello.
Hi, Barbara. Hi, Larry.
Hi.
Barbara, if you perform live again, do you think you'll consider a performance in Toronto?
Well, of course. Absolutely. I would love to go to
What, on a scale of 10, what are the chances that you will perform live again?
50%.
And if it happens as early as later this year, or would it be 93?
No, it would take a while to plan it all out.
Would you do a big tour?
If I did it, oh yes. I'm going to figure out how to do this. I'm going to go all around the world.
Would you perform for the Democrats again?
Absolutely, in a minute.
Absolutely in a minute.
Of course.
Would you go to their convention?
I'm not sure about that, but I would want to help them get in.
Houston, for Barbra Streisand. Hello.
Hello. How are you, Barbara?
Hi.
I'm wondering what the status is on the reunion with Robert Redford for the Way We Were sequel.
I would love to work with him again. I'd love to work with Sidney Pollack again. I don't know. We have to have meetings again and talk about it because it's hard to do sequels, you know, when the first film was so successful. But I do think there is a sequel there.
What's special about Redford?
Always interesting. Always fascinating.
How good an actor?
Good guy. Wonderful actor. Wonderful actor.
Staten Island, New York, for Barbra Streisand. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Barbara. Hi. I just want to say I've been a faithful fan for 28 years.
28 years?
Yes. But my question is any plans on working with your son Jason again?
Jason.
Wasn't he good in my movie? I'm so proud of him. Yes. I want him to work near me, by me, for the rest of my life.
Did you want him to be an actor?
Not particularly.
Were you surprised when he wanted to?
A little bit, because he made a brilliant film. He directed his own film, wrote it, directed it, edited it, and it's absolutely amazing. So, but I want to support him in anything he wants to do. So if he loves acting, you know, I don't think it's his passion in life, but
No?
he likes to explore all different kinds of things. He's building a house now.
Was he easy to direct?
Chimney, painting.
Was he easy to direct?
Yeah. You know, when you do something with love, it's easy.
Los Angeles, hello.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
I wanted to say you were a really important and dignified role model for me as I was growing up.
Thank you.
And I was wondering who your own inspirational role models were and are, and also how do you feel about the opportunities available for women today in Hollywood?
Role model.
Did you have any?
I
No? Did you have any heroines or someone you emulated? Did you want to be... No? Do you want to be Barbara Stanwyck? Did you want to be Joan Crawford? No. You wanted
Wire hangers?
You wanted to be you.
Yeah.
So you didn't have that role model in the family?
I don't remember that, no.
Interesting.
What was the second part of your question again?
forget.
I can't
I
remember.
forget. So,
Yeah.
oh, Hollywood, and women in Hollywood now getting in. Easier?
Oh, I think it's easier now. Yeah, when I did Yentl, it was like, you know, what, an actress, woman director.
Interesting. They will criticize you for, let's say, doing close-ups of yourself in a movie, and they won't criticize, say, Kevin Costner for doing close-ups of themselves in a movie. Right? There still is
There's
a double standard.
There is a hidden agenda behind statements like that, because that's just nonsense. I mean, it's like, you know, I would shoot me the way I would shoot any actress playing the role, the way I would shoot Blythe Danner, the way I would shoot Kate Nelligan, the way I would, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you want to make everything look as beautiful as it can in a movie. You're not going to try to make it look bad. So I don't understand criticism like that. It's very personal, trivial commentary.
Did you see in Nick Nolte a great actor?
Oh, yeah.
When you cast him in Prince of Thieves?
Yeah, I think he's a wonderful actor. Yeah, absolutely.
Was he easy to work with?
What do you mean by easy?
Was he a perfectionist?
He wants the best out of himself, yeah.
Was he difficult?
I can't describe it as difficult. You know, it's like somebody saying, well, you don't want to work with Marlon Brando, who happens to be the greatest actor who ever lived, in my opinion. I would work with him in a second. I don't care what
Let's put it this way. Was it fun each day to go to the set to say, I'm working with Nick again today?
You know, some days were fun and some days were less than fun, but it was always interesting, always fascinating.
Never dull.
Never dull, because it was alive, and, you know, he has his issues with women, and that was interesting. I like parallel issues that go along with, you know, the film and reality. I was his therapist in the movie, playing his therapist, And in a sense, you know, he had to come to trust me as a woman.
Toronto, hello.
First, I'd like to wish you success with an Oscar nomination, win for Best Director.